It's interesting. Group 7, who I was also supposed to meet with, actually moved their meeting to today at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. So I had to tell them, I'll see you guys next week. Anyways, I think you guys will find this is, well, I'm sure you've figured out this is a little different case than we've had, but I think after we get through this activity, I think you'll find it worthwhile and hopefully learn a few things during this discussion. But before before we jump into it, I just kind of want to lay out, we'll start off like we always do, just someone or some of you just sharing kind of the highlights of the case itself. But most of the time will be spent, hopefully you all went through the exercise with you printed out the table with the wilderness activity. The bulk of the time will be spent with you all ranking the different the different things on the list as far as a group, ranking them from most important to least important. And so that'll take the bulk of the time. And then naturally at the end, we'll kind of talk about kind of what just happened as a group as far as the decision-making process and how you all function as a group. So just wanted to lay that out first before we get into it. So who'd like to maybe highlight what are some of the significant issues that the group is facing?
You mean from the...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you mean from the case that we just read, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Personally, I first of all, I thought the whole case was really fun because it kind of gave us I guess like a survival perspective. And I guess they are facing survival at the moment. I mean, they have to be able to work together to survive.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Can I just add a couple of things? Everyone fell out of the canoe. One person suffered a broken leg. Several had cuts and bruises. And the canoes were severely damaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Not very bright, were they? But yeah, that was pretty significant. Their mode of transportation seriously damaged. They lost a number of important items as well.
It also talks about severe weather, how it can go drastically from hot and sunny to wet and cold very quickly. And so that's a high concern, is that the weather could change on them very quickly.
Good. Yeah, the weather, that was a significant factor.
Another thing, it's they lost almost all their things, their food, they lost their water supplies, their tents, and things like that, and they don't know where are they exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Enrique. So the next question is, what's the first actions that the group needs to take?
Well, it talks about how the likelihood of anybody coming to find them is at least 4 to 5 days out. And so I think the first action is that they need to figure out where they are and where they need to go.
Okay. So Esther's saying where they are and where they need to go.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, Go ahead.
Yes, other to one of the members of the team has a broken leg now, so they need to, I don't know, establish or take some actions about that and have a meeting and look what they have in that moment, what kind of things, food or water supplies they have, and then they need to create or make a plan to survive.
Okay, good. So, okay. KG, I think you were going to say something.
I think I lost my train of thought.
That happens to me a lot.
No, I mean, there's, I mean, regarding on, they said the nearest site was like what, 18 miles away or 60 miles away, was it?
61, no?
Wow.
I don't
I think
remember
it's
exactly.
the nearest road. Was it the nearest road?
I'm looking at it. Hang on.
Yeah, it's the closest road. Closest road is 15 to 18 miles away. Nearest town is 60 miles away.
60 miles. Oh, wow. Yeah, because I mean, with all the items, I mean, I guess they had, or at least the ones that we were picked, I would, I mean, try to see if there is any way that we could signal that we need help. But I mean, it's kind of hard to think of that.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, like if you were to do like a fire and even have like the smoke go all the way up, I mean, they could possibly think you're camping. And then another risk would be like, you know, maybe bears, because they mentioned there was going to be bears there, so maybe bears could come out and get you. There's just a lot of risk.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. And having done this before, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are going to learn a lot about your group and yourselves as well. So what we need to do now is, so if you look at your table, the list you have, so I think each of you should have done column B already, right? Your ranking. So now we're going to do column C. So here's how we're doing this. As a group, you need to decide, okay, 1 through 14. And I'm just going to read this part. I'm going to read word for word this part of the instructions so everyone's aware. So the consensus means that your group should not merely vote or average rankings together. Instead, try to get everyone to more or less agree on the rankings. When someone disagrees, listen carefully. When someone feels strongly, that person should attempt to use persuasive techniques to create a consensus. And so one thing I didn't explain, so this is the next step, and it's going to take most of the time, is as a group, you guys come up with your 1 through 14, right? 1 being the most important, 14 being the least, and everything in between. Then once we've done that, I will actually read, based on 2 experts, survival experts. We're actually going to read what, I'll read to you what the expert ranking is, so that would be column D, 1 through 14, and I'll give you a quick reasoning why. So just so everybody knows, and then we'll kind of go from that point. So I will step aside, so to speak, and let the 6 of you figure it out.
Okay, well, I'm going to start it off. I voted matches number 1.
Okay.
Sorry?
She said matches.
Match
Matches.
number 1. I chose the
map. I put the map
Go
and
ahead.
the compass was 1 and 2.
Yeah, I put a water purification.
Yeah, me too.
I used the water tablets for my number 1.
Wow, that is crazy. I did not think everyone had to choose different stuff for number 1. I went with the Esther, and I also chose the map as number 1.
Yeah, the reason why I chose water is because that's a priority. Like,
Yeah,
if you don't have water, you will die.
That's true.
yeah. If you don't have water for 3 days, you can't survive.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Rebecca, do you think that water purification tablets would be a good number 1? Any thoughts on that? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rebecca?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm here number 1, and I'm going to stick with number 1. Can I try to persuade you?
Sure. Yeah. Try and persuade us.
Okay. With matches, with fire comes protection from the elements. You have people that are injured that have been dumped in the water. You have hypothermia that will set in. People need to get dry. If you need to purify water before the water purification tablet, depending on what you have, you may be able to do something about the water. You need to keep warm, and if you come up against a bear or a wild animal, fire on a stick will help signal, and it will help detour an aggressive animal. So that was my reason for choosing fire.
Okay.
Anyone dispute that, or why that shouldn't be 1?
What do you guys think? I think you brought up a good point, Rebecca, that, that could technically purify water. Let's see.
I'm going to agree with Kaiji and Enrique that it needs to be the water purifiers, and then we can have matches as second. But because of the situation with it's at least 5 days out before we're going to be getting help, I do think that the compass and the map have to be at the very top of the list, because we can't just start a fire and wait it out. We have to move. We have to be able to get at least to the road. And so if we don't have our bearings and our direction, sitting and getting warm isn't going to do anybody any good. So we have to be able to move.
Okay, so it sounds like we're choosing the water purification. And then are we doing the matches as number 2?
I think the map should be number 2. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think
have
so.
them out.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Am I allowed to still disagree with the group?
Yes.
Okay, matches number 1, because the first thing you do when there's a catastrophe, you hunker down and you stay in place, you assess the situation, and you take care of the injured. That's the first thing you do. And everybody needs to dry out, and that's why I'm sticking with 1. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thanks, Rebecca. I think those are good points. Very good point. Okay, so what did everyone put for number 3 then?
Are you asking me?
Sure, just everybody. I put food.
Well, I put the compass as number 2. And then 3, I put the map.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it the map as well, the plastic cover map. I chose that one because I think that is simpler.
I'm
Go ahead,
pulling
Nick.
mine up really quick.
I'm trying to find that. So I have map, compass, and then water as 3.
Okay, so should we do map then? Since we're already going into, I like map. I think that's a good choice.
Hey, just excuse me, Esther. I assume, are you tracking the groups? Are you tracking the group rankings?
I'm doing it.
Oh, you are? Okay. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure. And you guys are
Nathan's got
on.
it.
You guys are on number 3 now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the map is a good one.
Yeah, I
For
think
number
so.
3, okay, good.
Yeah,
because I put food for number 3, but then I realized, yeah, maybe we could get food later.
Yeah.
I get hungry, so.
Okay, that's a good one. All right, so 3 for 3. What do we want to do for 4?
Wait, so just go through them with me again. So number 1 we have, what was it again?
Water
And then number 2?
matches.
Okay. Because I put 4 for matches, but what do you guys think for number 4?
So right now we have water purification tablets as 1. The map is 2, or do we have matches as 2?
Matches.
Matches.
So what do we have for 3?
Map.
Plastic cover.
map.
Are we putting compass as well? Is it 3 for map, compass for 4, or are we just sticking with map?
I think the number 4 needs to be the 6 personal flotation devices.
That's what I
Because-
put as well.
Yeah,
Well,
because
I
one
put that
of
for
them,
number 2.
yeah,
Do that, would you?
I put that because one of them has a broken leg. So I
Yeah.
think it's easier to transport him by the water. So maybe it's faster.
Yeah, and this is really silly, guys. So forgive me for saying this, but they mentioned bears on the case, and I am terrified of bears. So if one of them runs at me, I'll jump in the water with that device.
Hey, KJ, we appreciate you being so open and honest with us. Thank you.
Just FYI.
KG doesn't like bears.
So that
So what
floating
you're
device
trying
is
to
really
say is
important
that
to me.
already be in the water?
Wait, what?
What you're trying to say is we should already be in the water.
Sorry, you're cutting off.
I think she's saying
That was your reasoning behind having the flotation devices, is that you already plan on
no.
being in the water to stay away from the bears?
No, that wasn't the only reason. That was part of it.
Okay.
all right. Rebecca, what do you think of personal flotation devices for number 4?
I keep it for now. Take care of the injured. If you gotta step somebody's leg, or if you got, the present version so there's no infection, and another day for work, good.
Okay, so did you get your Rebecca?
Right, and what about the 6 sleeping bags? Because for the 6 sleeping bags, I think that they were the first thing that they had to do is sleep, right, to rest. And they already have water. They already have the matches and the map. So they have the priority for me is the sleeping bags. But I don't know.
So
Sleeping bags will help you dry.
what do we
dry
decide
it
for number
more.
4 then?
Personally, I'm more afraid of being cold than of bears, so I'm okay with sleeping bags.
Yeah, I actually like the sleeping bag.
Yeah, we can do the sleeping bags. I'm good with that. I like my sleep too.
Okay. I think we're going to sleeping bag, Becca, but I like your point about the whiskey.
So what's gonna be number 4?
Sleeping bags?
Okay.
I thought we did the 6 personal flotation devices with 4, and then 5 was sleeping bags.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine too. That's fine.
I do think, though, that Rebecca has a good point about the whiskey for, like, the broken leg. Is anyone else concerned about that? Oh, I'm talking about the whiskey.
No, I put whiskey as 6 because of the same thing, being able to pour it on a wound for infection.
Okay.
Ah, that's a good point.
So I think that might be a good next one.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I did not think about whiskey at all, to be honest.
I just thought about like drinking.
That's why I chose whiskey last too, but
Right.
no, but that's a good point. I mean, we can use it for wounds and stuff.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
Easter knows about it because she's a mother.
Alcohol was put on this earth for the outside of the body.
Right.
Yes.
Little known fact. That's very funny. Okay. Okay, so we're prioritizing the alcohol. Thank you, Rebecca. All right.
Okay, so it's gonna be number 6, right?
Right.
Right, whiskey is number 6.
Okay.
I was thinking one aspect of parachute cord is that the sleeping bags can be fit together so that you can be helped, and the portion of the parachute cord can be used to develop shelter.
Okay. Well, that's smart.
Bonnie, will you repeat what she said? I couldn't hear.
Yeah, she said that basically she put parachute cord as the next most important because she said the sleeping bags can be fit together and then you can use the cord to make a shelter.
Ah.
The cord to make it what? Sorry?
What was that? Okay, yeah, she's saying you can make them into trees. So, what do you guys
Another
think?
thing I thought of with the parachute cord is it's 35 feet long, and you can use it to build a raft.
Yeah,
You could
the
take
one
logs and use the cord
the-
to build a raft.
Okay.
We already have the flotation devices in ours, but I didn't put them as high on the list because of that. Because with the cord, you could do a lot of other things with it.
Yeah, I like that one. We can do that next.
I had actually noted a compass for my 7th one, just because I thought a compass was going to be important. But then again, I mean, I don't know how critical that would be in this case.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I don't think it would be as important.
However, if you're looking at a map and you don't know what north is, you could completely go the wrong way on that map.
That's true.
But
I mean, you could probably use, if there was mountains or,
right.
if there were things around you, you could probably get yourself where you could tell what the map was, what direction you're on, but you may not be able to. And if you don't know the direction that map's supposed to go, you could get completely turned around without a compass. But that's just a thought.
No, it's true. I
think
would think a compass is somewhat important just to get your sense of direction.
Yeah, I was thinking the compass is not really necessary because if you have the sun, you can know where is the north, where is the south.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, shoot. I guess I don't even know how to tell that. But I mean, to be quite honest, I don't even know how to tell a compass either. I mean, not a compass, but like mountain and all that stuff. So,
In my opinion, I have not been in those type of situations. But one thing that I think that will be like useful is gonna be the duct tape, because if you have a person with problems in emergencies, you have to use the duct tape. Also, um, it's not just for that one. You can also use it for everything, like for sleeping bags or something that might be damaged. I don't know.
I agree with duct tape because you can use it as a splint for the
Right.
broken leg.
Uh-huh.
You can use it to repair, like you said, like even the plastic covered the flotation devices. If they spring a leak, you could probably fix a leak. There's there's a lot of things that duct tape probably would help with.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
Yeah, really good point.
Hey, I need to interject. What number are you guys on?
7.
Oh, okay. So just a time check. You're about halfway through and you've taken 20 minutes. So probably need to speed it up a little bit so we can, as far as the discussion part goes. So just a little time check here.
Okay.
So we agreed on the duct tape for 7.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
So are we all agreeing that the compass is 14? We can just put a number on there. If we have the map, we don't need it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wait, which one?
The compass.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
number 14.
Okay.
Do we all agree or not?
Yes.
I agree.
What?
They are saying that they prefer the compass to be number 14.
And I think that number 8, I would choose a parachute core, which I don't know if Rebecca mentioned that one.
Yes, I agree. I think the cord could be useful for lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really useful.
I'm sorry, I never said that it's duct tape.
Right.
Actually,
So-
you know what? The frisbee has to be 14.
What was that?
I said the frisbee has to be 14. The only thing I could think of that could be useful for the frisbee is to capture water if we didn't have any kind of canteen, to paddle, like if we needed to paddle for a canoe, like if we were on the raft and trying.
Yeah, actually, I chose that one, but based on what you were saying about the compass, I don't know. Both for me are useless. But I think that in priority, yeah, the compass is like it's gonna be useful if, for example, if you don't find like any location on the map.
But I
Well,
think the
personally,
frisbee could be
I
like
put
a
it-
tool.
Personally, I put compass as number 2. On my personal, I did map and then compass. Because to me, if I don't have my bearings, the map's useless. But that's just what I put on my personal one. But I was just saying that everybody was saying that they didn't feel like we needed it because we had the map, that I was throwing it at the bottom.
Right. So basically it's gonna be the frisbee is gonna be number 13 and compass 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay, we have food left. We have the 2 broken fishing poles. We have clothing and the insect
Shoot.
repellent. That's what's left.
Should we make? I mean, well, I don't know how you guys feel about food. I mean, I don't know if it's easy to find food out there, but I was gonna say, like, what if we just do food number 12 as well? But I don't know what you guys think.
I think the 12 needs to be the 2 fishing poles because they are broken. I can find a use for that.
Yeah, I have that one.
But if we have tape, I mean, couldn't we like somehow? I mean, somewhat fix it. I mean, we don't know how like broken they are.
Well, we have the parachute cord. I mean, we could probably, and the duct tape, we could probably fix them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's somewhat reasonable.
Well, especially if we're throwing the food out, we might need the fishing poles.
Yeah, I like that idea. Plus, you could still always read the line. Chances of the line being broken is probably slim.
Okay, so the fishing poles.
Yeah, let's make those number 9.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the clothing, I think, are important that they are wet, if we can somehow dry them out. But I think more than anything, we could probably use it as a bandage with the duct tape. But we're down to it being one of the last anyway.
Yeah, I like that one.
No, that's gonna be number 10, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one.
The set
Okay.
of clothes.
Okay. Okay, I think that the insect repellent might be number 11. Oh, but you have bag of food. Let me see. Oh, oops.
And then food is 12.
Yeah, but do you think that food can be number 11? Because I don't know. With the 2 that we have left, I think the insect repellent. I mean, that one is you can use it, but not in priority as the food. I don't know.
I agree with that.
But with the fishing poles, we can fish something and we can get some food.
Yeah.
So the other pack is not necessary.
Yeah.
Well,
I would
one
still
fanny
stick-
pack of salami isn't gonna go very far. But I don't know. Does it say anywhere in the case that insects were even really that big of an issue? I mean, we are on the water, so it might be. But I personally think we should go food 11 and insect repellent 12. That's just my my thought.
That's my opinion as well.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I
Oh, yeah.
honestly don't see any use for either one of them. So
Yeah, and we are in the water, so yes, it's okay.
Cool. Well, that's good.
Hey, we build it in.
Yeah.
All right, you guys done?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Oh,
Yeah. But I have.
sorry, Rebecca, were you saying something?
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just gonna read it to her real fast. Okay, so we put water for 1, and then we put matches for 2. We put the map for 3. We put the sleeping bags for 4. The flotation devices for 5. The whiskey for 6. The
Hey,
duck for 7.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still suffering from the time change. Do you
Mhm.
mind just going straight down the list, starting with fanny pack? Because I'm trying to make a note of this as well.
Sure. Okay, we're starting over, and the instructor asked me to start at the top. Sorry about that. So, fanny pack of food we ranked as 11. Map we did for 3. Flotation devices was 5. The fishing poles was 9. The clothes were 10. The frisbee was 13. The water was number 1. Duct tape was 7. Whiskey was 6. Insect repellent was 12. Matches were 2. Parachute cord was 8. Compass was 14. And the sleeping bags were 4.
Thank you, Bonnie. All right. Hey, good discussion, and we'll talk more about how that went and get your guys' feedback. But let's jump into what the 2 experts said, okay? So before I go through their list of 1 through 14, let me just give you some background, okay? Can everybody hear me, okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the correct answers are based on the opinions of 2 experts, Jeff Stemmerman and Ken Geiske of REI Outfitters, both of whom act as guides for canoe trips to the Boundary Waters region. So they're very familiar with this area. The experts agreed that the best course of action for the group was to repair one of the canoes and send 2 of the most experienced and least injured people to paddle to a road and get to Grand Marais for help. Because a search party would not leave for at least 5 days and might not find the group for a couple days more, this would cause severe hardship on the group, particularly the one with the broken leg. Food is way down and there is minimal protection from rain and cold since the tent and tarps were lost. Cold and rainy weather at this time of year is life-threatening, so the group must get help as soon as possible. It is estimated the group of 2 would move faster than if everyone went along and they could get help within 1 day. Then a helicopter could be sent to the campsite. First priority of the group then is to go for help. However, in order to do this and survive, it is important to get warm and to try and dry out wet clothing and sleeping bags. However, since it has started to drizzle and may rain, there is no assurance things will get dry soon. In that case, the party of 2 needs to leave quickly in wet clothes and take their wet sleeping bags with them. There is almost no food left, most of it having been lost in the rapids. About half should go to the 2 paddlers who will have less time to gather food, but who will presumably get to food source sooner. The experts said as long as they have water, they could go for 3 days without food and still function adequately. On the 3rd day, they would get shaky. Those left behind can try to catch some fish to eat. Okay, so here we go. Based on the opinions, the expert rankings are, drum roll please.
Wait,
Number
hey guys,
1 is
can you guys hear me
duct
okay?
tape.
Yeah.
Duct
Okay,
tape
sorry,
is
man.
number 1. This is the most essential thing because it's the only way to repair the canoe. It can be used to patch up 10 feet and to fix the broken gunwales. Other uses for the tape, which the experts say is essential on any such trip, is to repair the fishing poles and to use with large sticks to get a temporary splint for the broken bone. Lastly, it can be used to fashion a makeshift pan to boil water. However, caution must be used to keep the tape far enough away from the flame and to not allow the water to get so hot that the adhesive will melt. Number 2 is the personal flotation devices. These are useful mostly because they help keep the body warm. They can be worn as best to keep the torso warm or use to sit or pillows on wet or cold ground. Right now, the wet clothes are all wet. Even with personal flotation devices wet, they still provide warmth. Number 3, map of the area. Essential for the 2 people striking out to get help. It would be almost impossible to navigate out of lakes and to a road without the map. The plastic coaching also makes the mat useful as a makeshift umbrella. Number 4, sleeping bags. Important to keep warm, both for paddlers as well as those staying behind. Even though the bags are wet, they still provide some warmth since they are synthetic. It is impossible to dry them out as soon as possible, though. The bags can be used day or night for warmth. Number 5 is the matches. To start a fire as soon as the drizzle or rain stops and begin drying out the clothes. The extra set can be dried out and put on the same time that some people strip down and get into the sleeping bags while their clothes dry. Fire can be started from the plentiful wood pieces in the area. Birch bark is used as a fire starter. The first is important for cooking purposes, also as well as providing warmth for the group. If the weather had not started to drizzle and looked like it was going to rain soon, then matches would have been number 3 in order to get clothes and sleeping bags dry, especially for those leaving. Number 6 was food. Though there isn't much, it was still very helpful. It must be divided and rationed so that it doesn't run out quickly. For those staying behind, it is hoped that within a day fish can be caught. However, in the meantime, the food that remains should somehow be protected from bears. Number 7 is clothes. When it stops raining, the extra clothes need to be dried out, and 3 of the remaining people can wear them. This greatly helps chances of survival for keeping dry and increases warmth. Dry clothes are even more important than securing additional food to eat. Number 8 was the fishing poles. Once the duct tape is used, the poles should be fit for fishing in the lake, where northern walleye and lake trout average 2 to 5 pounds. Fish can be caught and cooked over the fire. A stick may be used as a splint to roast the fish, or a makeshift pan from duct tape can boil the fish. Number 9 was the parachute cord. This has many uses as a line dry to dry clothes, though bushes can be used too to secure the food in a tree away from bears. And if the duct tape runs out, the cord can be used for splinting the leg and for repairing the gunwales on the canoe. In order to do this, poke the holes near either side of the top using the jackknife. Pull the cord through the holes and tie it securely. Number 10 is the insect repellent for protection from mosquitoes and black flies, which are both persistent and thick, as well as wood ticks and deer ticks, which often spread Lyme disease. Number 11 was the water purification tablets. Mildly important because the water in these areas are not as pure. However, the disease to worry about the most is Giardia, a protozoa in the water. It takes 2 weeks to take effect in the body. By that time, everyone should be home. Water can also be boiled. Number 12 was the Frisbee. Though it was brought for recreation, it actually has some survival value. One use is to heat water in it, being careful that the heat does not melt the plastic. Fish can be boiled in it as well, as can hard candies and water to provide a warm liquid for the group. The Frisbee can be used to fan the fire, though blowing on it works too, and it can be used for recreation to ease the tension. Number 13 was the compass. This is not as important as the other items because the paddlers are well equipped to navigate the lakes with the map. Number 14 was the whiskey. Some may think this is useful for energy or to keep warm, but actually it has the opposite effect, and it should be used only as a last resort for pain, broken bone, because alcohol causes dehydration and hypothermia, getting colder. After drinking alcohol, the blood capillaries expand and initially the driver feels warm. However, heat is actually being lost, and later there is sudden feeling of being very, very cold. All right, so those are the 14 from the experts. What do you guys think?
I was interested how they prioritize money. Very different from us.
All right, so what we need to do next is we need to do the difference between your group ranking and the expert ranking. And so that would be C minus D, and then you put that in column E.
And when you, so you're saying that like,
And remember, they're absolute numbers. So whether you were above it or below it, just using absolute numbers. There's no negatives.
Okay.
so, for instance, we put 11 for the food and they put 6, so we just subtract it and it's 5.
Yeah. And even if it's the other way around, like if it came out to be a minus, there's no minuses. It's just whatever the absolute number is. So go ahead and.
Okay, on the plastic covered map, we both put 3. So do we put 3 or do we put 0?
Yeah.
Put 0.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I got that. So under matches, you would put 0 instead of 3?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Because basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to, what was the deviation from what the expert said?
Oh, wait, for matches? So yeah, you're subtracting C from D, and it doesn't matter if it's negative or not. It's just
Yeah, exactly.
So- that one
We
would.
just got 1 away. We just got 1 away from it.
But for like the map, that would be 0.
So like the parachute cord, you had 8 was your group ranking, 9 was the expert. That's just a difference of 1.
That would be 10. But if you want, I can just email you my copy of this so you can have a better look.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. It's kind of hard to hear everything. So I'll just send it to you.
I'm getting everybody, but I guess I don't. I'm trying to figure out why they're scoring it that way, but that's okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm pretty sure it'll be simple once you can see it.
Okay.
So maybe whoever's recording this, once you've got that down, just review it for the group.
I can do it really quick if you want. I have 5 for fanny pack, 0 for plastic mac, 3 for 6 flotation devices, 1 for the fishing pole, 3 for the set of clothes, 1 for the yellow frisbee. The tablets I have 10, duct tape I have 6, whiskey is 8, insect repellent is 2, matches is 3, parachute cord is 1, compass is 1, sleeping bags is 0.
Okay, good. So what were some of these? I we can all see this, right? What were some that were similar and some that were different or significantly different?
The water purification tablets were the most different, and there was 10. We put it as number 1. They put it as number 11.
Okay.
I think the whiskey was pretty rare. That was like
Sorry, can you repeat what Rebecca said?
the whiskey was 8. That was
Yes.
the highest one, the whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah, because the experts only saw it as drinking it. We didn't even see it as drinking it. But it is a common myth that whiskey or alcohol helps you warm up, and that is definitely a myth.
That's interesting.
But it's really a good point, though, because when you're coming off the whiskey, I guess that's when hypothermia can set in. So,
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about that one.
Yeah. Good point.
All right, so let's we're quickly running out of time. Let me ask this: is everyone okay if we just stay a few minutes longer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's some worthwhile discussion here. So, the title of this lesson is Power, Influence, and Persuasion. So let's talk about the process. I mean, how do you guys think it went as you tried to come to a consensus? Maybe point out some of the things you think went well, some of the things that maybe could have gone better?
I think everyone did a pretty good job of pointing out why they thought that, you know, what they thought should be next, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I think maybe also if we had more time, it's possible we would have rated things differently.
Okay.
I personally was trying to be as agreeable as I could because I definitely did not. I had food and water at the top. I had the maps at the top. But I think a lot of the middle stuff was, I wasn't set on my answers anyway, so it was easy to be persuaded. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I was confident enough with my answers to be able to stand up for them.
Okay. So Esther, you're saying that you were being agreeable because there were certain things you felt strongly about, but others maybe you felt less strongly or less confident about?
Right.
Okay.
So I was easily persuaded on some of the things.
Okay. Who else? What else? Some other observations?
Yeah, when we are in a team, when two or more people agree with some idea, in my case, I tend to agree with that idea too, because I think, oh, I'm the only one with this idea, so I need to change my idea. So that's happened in this exercise, I think. When two or three companions have the same idea, I try to understand why and accepting their ideas too.
Do you ever think you do that though, at the expense of actually saying what you think?
See, explain that.
Well, from what I heard, Enrique, that was you, right?
Yeah.
That made that comment. Sorry, I'm just trying to follow all the icons here, and want to make sure I knew it was one of the guys. So, anyways, so, and I'll refer to the book we're reading now, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. You know, one of the things that Lencioni says is that consensus is a bad thing because you often don't make good decisions because just because someone may have a more extroverted or forceful personality, they will be heard over someone who has just as strong feelings, but for whatever reason they don't speak up. So Rebecca, that's why I asked the question.
Okay.
Well, and I think that it really comes down to how important is the topic to you. Because honestly, this wasn't that important to me. So it was more important to be agreeable, to have a good discussion than to fight. You know what I mean? Where
Sure.
I think that if it was an actual group meeting, for instance, at my job, I'm the manager, and so I definitely would speak up a lot more because that's my livelihood, that's my job, that's my position. And so it would definitely be, I would be a lot more assertive in a position, you know, in that kind of a setting.
So are you saying, Esther, then that it depends?
Yes, I think it does, especially how much energy and time you are putting into that relationship as well.
Okay.
So, for instance, if it was I was counseling with my husband over a very important topic, let's say parenting.
Sure.
There, I would definitely have my say, and I would definitely fight for. I would choose my battles, and I would, you know. But if it was something that, you know, just wasn't that important, like let's say for instance, my husband loves to win at games, and it's not important to me. It's more important for us to have an enjoyable time having, playing games as a family. I'm going to not even try. I'm going to be there for the relationships, not for to win the game.
Okay.
So I don't know if those two, so to me, fighting for, parenting and parenting styles or playing a game, same people in the situation, I would definitely act differently.
Okay, good. Thanks for sharing that. Any other thoughts, kind of on the same line of questioning, maybe why you spoke up or why you didn't, either didn't speak up, or maybe, like Esther was saying, just became agreeable for whatever reason?
Right. What happened?
What was that, Rebecca?
So let me answer that one. Let's take the Compass incident, okay? That's where the group was looking at that as 13. I was looking at it as 2. I do that out of experience and out of being a private pilot. That's why I chose that one. Because I know how key it is and I know how to read the compass. And I get in the air, I know exactly what I'm doing. So that's why I was pretty emphatic with that one. Albeit it's not the right choice, but that's where I was going with it.
Rebecca, let me ask you this. So again, we're kind of talking about, again, power, influence, and persuasion. Do you have any takeaways of, and again, you're very clear that you felt strongly about it, but in a group, where you're trying to make a decision, and any takeaways that you maybe glean from this exercise or not?
Well, yes, in retrospect, yes. I can say a lot of things here, and it's the good and the bad and the ugly of it. So in a team, you say whatever it is, right? So I'll say it like this. My experience is different than some of my other team members, and it's not that it's the right choice. That's my personal feeling, and that's why I'm stating it. With my reasons for disagreement, essentially, after we've been through all the choices, then I understand it a little bit clearer. I'll go with the consensus of the group, with the consensus of the expert ranking, because there were some other things you said in about how they were using things to repair the boat, etc. That wasn't in my thought pattern.
Okay.
I think one thing to recognize here is this was a life and death situation. And personalities and opinions, and it really had to come down to the whole. And I think that's with any, and that's what they're trying to get across with this. What we're learning is that it's about the whole and not about the person. It's not about the personality or the opinion. It's about what is going to be best for the whole team, the whole company. In this case, it was the survival of the group.
No, and I think, thank you, Esther. I think that's a good point to wrap up this part of it, is that you're exactly right. It's, what was best for the group. And, some of my observations were just that of your group. I made some notes here, is that I think I saw just a nice balance of everyone voicing their opinions. And, some pretty strong ones in that they were, you gave your reasoning, but at the same time, I also saw, I guess, trying to get to a consensus, which really, as you mentioned, Esther, I mean, that really was the point is, what is best for the group. And, as you read in the five dysfunctions, that's exactly what Lencioni is saying is, I like the term he uses. I don't know. I don't think you guys maybe he's used it yet in the book. I'm trying to think what page, what chapter it's in. But, when you have a group, it's okay to disagree, but at the end of the day, we have to commit, right? And so, he says disagree but commit, and that's exactly what we've been asked to do here. So, any other comments before we wrap this up about this experience tonight?
I have to say something really fast. So other thing of the problems we have here is because we don't know a lot of the topic. We don't know about the survive or that kind of travels.
Yeah.
So if one of us had a similar experience or had more knowledge about this, I'm sure we had accepted his opinion or her opinion, because now we listen the expert rankings and we are accepting that ranking.
Yeah, good. No, that's it.
I agree with that, Enrique. I do think that sometimes in a group, some people do actually bring a little bit more expertise and experience to the topic.
Yeah.
And I think that that shows respect for their experience and being able to be a little bit more willing to listen. But I think that my final thought is it's not who's right, it's what's right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. Good comments. All right. So to wrap this up, and I think I don't see him. Is KG no longer with us?
I think he's technical difficulties.
Because so there's a few things, and whoever wants to, so there's a few things that need to be summarized. And so if we go back to the table, column F is your persuasion score. So that's B minus C. So that would be an individual one, right? In terms of your ranking versus what you thought from the group. And so if you go and fill in column F, that'll show you, again, I guess you could call it like a persuasion metric of your potential impact on the group rankings. So go and fill that out quickly. And then along with that, you see there at the bottom where it says individual score, group score, and persuasion score. That's essentially, that's where you put the totals for A, E, and F.
Okay, we only sum.
Excuse me?
We need to sum all the points.
That is correct.
Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, he's asking if he has to sum up all the numbers from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so F should probably be the last column that you have to fill in, which is B minus C, and then after that, column A, column E, and column F. Those totals you put there at the bottom where it says individual score, group score, and persuasion score, respectively.
And then, Enrique, you do not have to add those three together.
Yeah. And then just kind of holler when, or raise your hand, so to speak, when you're done doing that.
Brother Castillo, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I was at work earlier today when I did my individuals, and I actually don't have it on this computer. Is there a way to pull up what I did for my individuals, in grades or in quizzes or somewhere where I can see? Do you know?
Sorry, so did you
So I saved my individual rankings at work, and now I'm at home on my laptop,
oh,
and I
okay.
can't find what I chose. Exactly. I knew some of them, but I can't remember exactly some of the middle ones.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm looking in the quizzes, trying to see if I can pull it up and see what I put, but I'm not seeing it.
Oh, because you took the quiz already?
Yeah, I took the quiz for my personal ones. Is that
Yeah.
not supposed to be for your personal?
I'm drawing a blank. I think there was that was part of that was one of this week's assignments, correct?
Right.
Quiz,
And I'm
yeah.
just trying to see if I can pull that quiz up and see what I had chosen.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, so I'm in quizzes, and where do I find it?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured you probably couldn't see what we see on our
Exactly.
side.
You see all the answers.
Right.
I've never tried. I probably could.
Yeah,
Well, I know
actually, not all of them, but just some of them allows you to see what the answers are, or the ones that you
Right.
chose.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute.
So let me actually let me go through the final part that's due, and maybe Esther, since you still need your numbers, maybe you can do this part, and let me just
Okay.
explain what you have to do. So so everyone has to finalize your table scores, right? So and then you'll do the individual, group, and persuasion at the bottom. And then we need the individual. So then you'll need to combine everyone's individual scores, and then calculate your group's average member score by finding the average of the individual scores. So essentially, you would just get everyone's individual score, right, which is the first one of the three at the end.
Right.
And that gives you the average for the individual scores.
And then divide it by 6.
Yeah, and then you also need the best member score,
Okay.
and then the lowest individual score.
Okay, help me. The score itself is, we're going to total up groups. We're going to total up the bottom of group A, E, and F, correct?
Right. So the
And that's
individual
what gives us
score.
a score, and that's why we know. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, everyone. So you'll have 6 individual scores, right? Just like you said. You add
Now,
them
do
up.
you want the highest or the lowest? Because aren't we trying to get as close to the experts as we can? Wouldn't that be the lowest?
Right. So the individual score. You're right. So best would be the lowest.
Okay.
Right. So the best member score. The best member score is really the lowest individual score, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
Because we're trying to get as close to the experts as we can.
Right.
And
Go ahead.
the average is just everybody's score divided by 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that just gives us the average. And then what's the persuasion score?
So the persuasion score, yeah, you do the same thing. You go to
it's the average.
yeah, you just get the 6 persuasion scores,
Okay.
add them up, divide them by 6, right?
Right. So
And then-
the best individual score is whoever was the closest.
right,
The group is average and the persuasion is average.
right.
Okay, I can do that. And how I'll do it is I'll have everybody email me their scores.
Yeah, and then that's what you'll post to the discussion board, the Lesson 10 Wilderness Survival Group Leader Discussion Board.
Okay.
And then the last thing is it's hold on, where does this best explain? Let me just
Isn't it a paper or write up?
oh no, I'm sorry, just what needs to be posted.
Oh, okay.
So along with the other things that you're the group score lower than. Okay, so it's called a process gain, and so that's where if you look at your group score and the average member score, if your group score is lower than the average member score, then that means there's a process gain. So in other words, that your group, your group did better than than what the individual members did is a process gain. And then if you did not have a process gain, it means that your group score was higher than the average member score. That makes sense?
Yeah, because lower is better.
Yeah, lower is better. So lower basically says, hey, as a group, we made a better, we made better decisions, than we did individually.
And this is just on the best individual score.
Correct.
I'm comparing it to the very
the
best
average
individual
member score.
by the group average score.
Yeah.
Got it.
I know it's a little confusing.
So it's not by the expert ranking.
No, we are going off the expert ranking. That's why all of them are compared against the experts.
Yeah.
And so that's the right answer.
Yeah.
And so we are going off of who got the closest to the experts. And then we're going to see if an individual on their own got closer or as a group we got closer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that expert ranking was factored in because the group was basically the group ranking C minus D. So group ranking minus expert ranking gives you the group score.
Okay, so you're gonna make an analysis.
Yeah. So basically, those what was it? Those 3 or 4 things. Right, Esther, I think you're going to be compiling that, and then you just post that to the discussion board.
Right.
Okay.
So
And then
all I need from everybody is the column A, column E, and column F totals. As soon as you give me those totals, then I will find the averages. I will find the lowest, best individual score, and then I will compare whether the individual got closer or if us as a group got closer.
That's right.
Okay, it's good.
Bonnie, I think that you have that information, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to just send my whole paper? I just sent an email.
Yeah, send it to all of us. That way Easter can complete it.
Okay, cool.
I have it as well. I was keeping track while we were talking to.
hey, great job, you guys. I know it's a little different from the other cases, but hopefully you found it valuable. And I think, Esther, you asked the question about, I'm glad you brought it up, but there is not exactly a case study, but it's the conclusions that is due by Monday. So just FYI, I'm sure you guys probably already knew that, but because normally you don't have something like that due on the second half of the week. But just make sure you follow the instructions on that. So
I wanted to thank everybody because I think that we do work really well as a group. Everybody participates and everybody's here, and I really enjoy this group.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Easter, do you still want to know how to get the answers for the quizzes?
You know what? I'm not going to worry about it, Neffy, because I'll probably finish this up at work tomorrow. So I just won't. That way we can just stop the broadcast and be done for the evening. I'll just bring them together tomorrow at work. But thank you.
Okay, but it's pretty simple.
Hey, really good job, you guys. I know it's real late. I appreciate everybody hanging in there for another 20 minutes. I promise you'll get blessings from above. So for your extra effort. Anyways, who would like to offer us a closing prayer so we can wrap up this great meeting?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity that we had today to discuss and share about different opinions we have. We thank you for the blessings we have received and the opportunity that we have to talk to each other and share different opinions. We thank you for the opportunity that we had to be learning about leadership and how to influence others about our decisions and different thoughts. We ask you for the opportunity to receive the Spirit and to have the ability to understand more and to take better decisions. And we ask you for the opportunity to serve others and help others understand the gospel. We ask you and we thank these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, Neffy. Hey, great job, you guys. I'm glad I was finally able to meet with you. So have a great week.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone. Good
Okay.
week.
Bye.
Take care.
I'm gonna post this also.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you. Good night.